Well, welcome today to our June Angels Rest Blessing. My name is Patty Hegwood, and I'm really pleased and honored to have you with us here today. I also appreciate your flexibility. Yesterday, if you witnessed the monsoon, that was pretty crazy, and it actually postponed our blessing for today, to today. So I usually open with a few thoughts about, some of the feelings that we might experience, especially in light of pet loss. And we're always so lucky in a sense that we are surrounded by people who understand where we're coming from. In the great big world out there, there's not a lot of folks. They're coming around. But I always feel sorry for people who've never had a really true bonded relationship with another species, and to be able to have that connection and to know what it's like to ride that roller coaster ride of ups and downs. You know, the fabulous moments when everything's going great and you have those knowing, loving moments with one another, and it's almost like you're one. They're part of your DNA. They become a very intricate part of your life. And then there's the times when we have to say goodbye, and we feel like we've been sucker punched from the universe. And basically, it's a kick in the gut. I would say you would agree. And I see a lot of nodding heads. And it's, when we think about our vulnerability, I was looking up vulnerable and what does that mean? Well, of course, it's you're laying yourself open to the possibility of getting hurt. But I'd like to expand vulnerability a bit into all of the cool things that happen as well. Because when you open your world up to these gentle souls, you also know that your potential for getting hurt is pretty much a guarantee. But would you actually live any other way? Probably not. So personally, right now, a lot of us foster here at Best Friends, as well as having our own animal companions. And right now, I have a little spitty kitty named Nami. And when I think about vulnerability, I think about too, cats and dogs will roll over on their bellies, and that's a real sign of trust. It's a sign of I'm opening up the most vulnerable part of my body that could actually get hurt. I could get killed opening that up. This is an evolutionary thing to guard and gird, that area of the body. So this little girl comes into my life, and she was found in a parking lot in one of the apartment complexes here in town. And I mean, she did all the things. Like, I brought her home to a lush, wonderful, setup with a nice big X-Pen and all the cushy things. And I would go in there with her, and she's like, and giving me all the warnings, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going in, and I would grab her and pick her up and just hold her tight. And through baby food and temptation treats and all the yummies and all the moments of, okay, every, hour, I'm going to take 15 to 20 minutes and we're just going to talk. This morning, she rolled over on her back and gave me her belly. And that moment when that trust is handed over to you, when you begin to share that trust, when you have that moment, and you never forget it, it's that moment where your worlds collide. And I think about this, and I think about all of the times that we capture in our minds, and sometimes it's really sad when, say, those old Facebook memories pop up, and you're like, no, darn you, Facebook, in the middle of my day, and there's a picture of my pup who's gone away. But there's also a lot of really good memories in there. And I want you to think about all of the sensory portions of those memories. They're not just in photographs. There's a time where you sat and you looked right into their eyes and you shared a moment. You can smell what was going on. You know what you were wearing. You know how they looked at you. And I'm going to ask you to hold on to that because it's really super important. Because there's things that you cannot capture in a photograph that stay with you forever. So I have a horse. Actually, I have 4 horses. But I have this horse. And her name is Tira. And she's the one who started it all. And I fell head over heels in love with her the very second I saw her. And it was actually quite comical because I was going to get training lessons. And I said, "Oh my God, that's my horse." And the trainer said, "No, that horse belongs to someone else." And I'm like, "That's my horse." And little did I know, the lady came in, she said, "Oh my gosh, that is her horse." And she sold her to me. And this horse went home with me 8 years ago. And I drive everybody crazy normally, but I drive everybody crazy with this horse because I'm like, smell right here behind her ear. It smells like sweat, sugar cookies, and cinnamon. And I want to make that perfume. And I want to have that perfume. And I smell, there's something about her that just, we were like stardust that was separated and brought back together again. It was just so crazy how we came together. And I know that there's going to be a day that we're going to have to say goodbye. But from now till then, I'm going to smell behind those ears every single day. And I'm going to soak up every visual and every moment that we have. Because those are the things you rely on when they leave our world. And it's also the reason why you might break down crying in the PetSmart aisle when you see their favorite toy. But that's all part of the love that we share. That love we share, it goes on and on. And I just want you to be mindful of all the ways you experience that love, because that's what you take with you. I guess these guys agree. It's a windy day. So when we look at these guys, cat, puppy, bird, squirrel, whatever language you speak, I actually say to myself, I speak guinea pig, a lot of horse, cat, dog, and a tiny bit of cockatiel. Not really, proficient in that. But whatever language you speak their language. And when you come here, not only are you bringing them here with you, but you are supporting animals that you may never meet. For people you may never meet, just so that they can have the same experience and feel the same things that you do. So thank you for joining us today, and I'm going to pass on to Mr. Mosdell.
My name is James Mosdell. I am a caretaker here at the Rest, one of the newest hires. We would like to start first with commemorating the animals that passed from the sanctuary. These are either animals that were not adoptable or very sick because of age or sickness. And so we had them here at the sanctuary, starting in Cat World, Boo, Springdale, the Severe Kitten, Grover, Cyclops, Ferruccio, and Willie. From Dogtown, we had Halpert, Boxer, Moose, and Galahad, and we'll hear more about Galahad later. From the Parrot Garden, we had Compass, Sunset, Pat, and Gray Dancer. Now, tributes, we will start with Mia, Bauer, and Best Bud Bevo. From the Friends and Founders Pets to tribute, we have Buddy, Hannah, Taz, Harp, and Lola, Cooper Dog, Daisy, Donovan, Colby, Shawnee, and Muldoon, Elliot, Rusty, Monroe, Carbon, Jesse, May, Cupcake, and more. Boogie, beloved sanctuary dog, Rosie Bud, Pagonis, also known as Donner, Trixie, Chewy, Tater, Candy, Zebulon, Max, Joe, and Newt, Sophie, Max, Ebony Grace, Henry, Champ, Eddie, and Shadow. We also have Mickey Mouse, Abby Normal. That was my favorite one. Ruby Sue, Clovis, PD, Muffin, and horses Rusty and Magnum. We have Pepper. And finally, we would like to honor the bees, insects, and wild animals who have passed on. All creatures, great and small, as they say. Turn it over to Byron.
Hi, my name is Byron. I'm one of the caretakers here at Angels Rest. And we've had a couple stories that have been sent in I'd like to read for you. First one is Colt. Colt was adopted by his foster mom, Andrea, at the age of 2 months. Rescued by one of best friend's partners deep down in the Georgia countryside. He grew up to be Andrea's best friend, her running partner, and protector of his mom and four-legged siblings. Colt left his world too soon, a tragic, senseless accident. His love and Wigglebutt are deeply missed. We love you, Colt. You will always be in Mom's heart. And then we have Kugel. A light went out the day the sweetest and bestest boy left this world, April 26th, 2024. Thank you for being my heart dog, my son, my best friend, and my constant shadow. Tilly and I miss you so much. You have left not one, but 4 tiny paw prints upon my heart and the hearts of everybody that knew and loved you. Until we meet again. And then I have one for Little Girl. Little Girl was my feline guardian angel. She shared that responsibility with her brother's big boy until he passed in 2022. No longer living in his shadow, she assumed the full duties of her position. She loved to sit on my lap and rest her head against my chest. Otherwise, any sunny spot would do, be it in the kitchen window, her bed, or the screened in the catio, or snuggled up with me when we went to bed. She had a very soft purr. The only way you could tell that she was is that she vibrated. Sadly, her quality of life was rapidly deteriorating, and I had to let her go to join her brother on May 11th, 2024. Knowing they're happy and together, reunited beings, gives me so much comfort, and the house is so quiet. And now we'd like to ask Matt to come up, and he's going to share with us.
Hi, I'm Matt Fisher. I used to be a caregiver here at the sanctuary, worked in Dogtown. Recently, we had to cross Galahad for medical reasons. This is Galahad, and I have his actual cage card, which is something that they put on the card. And I'm fortunate enough to have gotten his leash, his harness, his collar as well, too. Galahad was a great kid once he let you be his friend. He had a lot of challenges. He was up in the Salt Lake area. He was in the Salt Lake Animal Services, and he was running out of foster homes to go to. He did not do well. He was making his way up the euthanasia list, actually. And my former boss, who was a caregiver up there, actually petitioned the Salt Lake Services as well as Best Friends for Best Friends to take him and bring him down here. And so I have to give it to Kay Leidecker. She saved his life and brought him down here. When I was a caregiver over at the clubhouse, he was one of the toughest ones to actually meet. He was one of what we used to have was a red collar, purple collar, green collar system, which they've done away with. But he was definitely a red collar, staff only dog. But once you were his friend, you were his friend. He used to love to go for golf cart rides. He was very selective about the people that he liked, but when he liked you, you would go to his run and he would do a dance for you in front of the gate, while you were coming over to give him treats. He had a food guarding issue, resource guarding. So he was taught to go outside into his outside area, and we could come in and put the food bowl down, and then do the same thing to pick the food bowl up. He was a really smart kid. He developed the medical issues later on in life, and he was very stubborn, I guess is the best word, the only word to actually use for him. It was really, we started actually referring to the Frank Sinatra My Way song because that's the way he was. He actually even chose his way to be crossed, and it was not a fun, easy circumstance for everybody, and there was a lot of people there that really cared for him and loved him. After I retired, I actually was able to enjoy bringing dogs over for sleepovers and outings to my house. And so he would come over and he spent the night one night, and the morning after, as I was bringing him back, I had a ramp to go up to my van, and he did not want to go up, and so I ended up reaching down to move him forward and accidentally stepped on his paw full force, and he turned around and gave me the worst dog bite I had in my life. And so that's something that, I always had a healthy respect for him, and he was my best friend, and he chose to just move past that. I chose just to move past that. He was definitely a dog who knew what he wanted when he wanted it, and asked us to respect that, and we all did. So there's lots of stories of him, and so he had a bunch of nicknames: Galahad, Sir Galahad, Galley, Scallywag was my favorite, actually, McGalley. So he was definitely a dog that everybody who got to know him really loved him and respected him. My favorite story of him was he had a very short-term foster up in Salt Lake City area. And one day when I was working here still, actually, I got a radio call from the Welcome Center, and they said, oh, his former fosters are here to just come and see him and say hi to him and wondering if they could spend a few minutes with him. And, I had a healthy respect for introducing Galahad the proper way to the right people, and had no idea what that relationship was. But luckily, Kate was working here, and she remembered them. They came up, and she said it was okay. They came up, and we were walking, and he was hesitant. He was wondering. But by the end of that one walk, and it was a small walk, he ended up getting petted by them, and he remembered them, which was really good. And then the next day, one of them came up and actually took him on an outing, So it's funny how they will remember people, they remember good experiences, and he definitely was one who did that. So thank you very much.
It was interesting. I think it was 12 years ago to the day, I think, right? When we were here? 12 years ago, I think today. And it was our last day here, and we had scheduled, if I remember correctly, Dogtown in the morning and working with the horses in the afternoon. Karen had said that morning, you know what, I'd like to go back and work with the cats in the afternoon. Okay. So we were not supposed to be in Cat Town last day 12 years ago. Up there working, cleaning everything out, and we got these two enclosures completely cleaned, and this gust of wind, in fact, I'm anticipating a big gust of wind, but this gust of wind came and completely destroyed this one enclosure. We went back over there to complete it. We're on our way out. We're minutes to leave, and this one little guy walks out from the corner. Hadn't seen him earlier, comes out from the corner, walks right over to Karen, sits down right next to her, We're looking at him. And we just asked Miss Charlene, can we just take a look at his brochure, his pamphlet? She gets it, brings it out. We open it up. And his name was Joe Cool. Well, interesting. My dad's name was Joe. Karen's dad's name was Joe. Okay, well, that's fine. We look a little bit further down. According to the brochure, his birth date was October 15th, something like 2007. That's interesting. We got engaged on October 15th. That's my sister's birthday, October 15th. So that's three things that are interesting. We're supposed to be here. My dad's name, her dad's name, and the date. So Miss Charlene says, what do you think? I said, we're going to the Grand Canyon tomorrow. I promise you we'll give you a call and let you know. We'll think about it. Go to the Grand Canyon, talked about it all day, came back, gave him a call and said, we're leaving tomorrow morning. We're leaving for Vegas. We're flying back to New York. We'll stop by. We'll have an answer first thing in the morning. So we decided to go back to Mondrian, go back to the pen. We look inside. Miss Charlene is there, and we said, we want to see Joe Cool one more time. Well, he's not here. I said, what do you mean he's not here? We told you we'd come back and let you know. Well, yeah, we knew you were coming back, so he's over getting ready for you. So he's at the vet. He's getting checked out. We met him over at the right now it's the headquarters. You've got an adopt area now. It wasn't there 12 years ago. Went to the headquarters. Here's the best part of the story. So we're sitting down with the lady, and we're just kind of laughing about the whole thing. And she opens up the brochure and she says, Joe Cool. That's the one? I said, yeah. He says, do you know the story behind? I said, no. I mean, based on what we read? No. That's not the story. He was adopted 30 days ago. A guy came up from Arizona, adopted him, hold him, I'm coming back, takes off. We email him, we call him, nothing. We released him back to be adopted 2 days ago. Hope I die. Swear to God. So, did that guy hold him for us? We think so. So, that's our story about, and we named him Cozy.
Hello, everyone. We're so grateful to be here today and share this healing space with all of you. Time to share our stories. I'm Shauna Goldberry, and this is Porter Goldberry. And we're here today celebrating the circle of life of our beloved Cecilia Goldberry. And I want to just share a brief story about, there's that terrible saying, you can't teach a dog, old dog new tricks, and that's completely ridiculous and not true at all. And I adopted Porter and Cecilia when they were mature from actually the St. George Animal Shelter, and not here from Best Friend. And they had quite a traumatic early days. They were a bonded pair for a backyard breeding. My beloved Cecilia had never been not pregnant in 8 years. It's the story that evolved from the animal shelter who knew them. Porter's in a cute little wagon here because he was hit by a car a year before I adopted him. And right after I adopted them, Cecilia had quite a large litter, and my veterinarian was asking, where are all these puppies? And that was the last litter that she had. But in that year, I have had registered therapy dogs with Therapy Dogs International for many, many years, and I got them registered in the Canine Good Citizen. They had to learn how to navigate being inside. They'd never been outside. They were in a pretty abysmal outdoor situation, just with very limited shelter and just a large wooden box that they stayed in. And they passed all of their basic training, their Canine Good Citizen, and they also passed their Therapy Dog International. And I have her tag with me. Hold on just a second. I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to share a special story about the little fox here. Oh my goodness, did you drink too fast? Here's my beautiful girl's tags. I'm a therapy dog. And we miss our partnership greatly. She passed the day after Christmas in 2023. So we just barely passed her 6-month date, going on to the great mystery. But on Mother's Day, my sweet sister made this cute little tiny stuffy in memory of her. Cecilia was a beautiful, beautiful. She was a white German Shepherd and a Golden Retriever Lab mix, and she was a beautiful, beautiful girl. And I just wanted to share, she actually passed from metastatic lung cancer, and a year prior to that, I'd had to do a partial chain mastectomy for her because she had all of her pregnancies and her nursing that many litters, etc. I'm sure contributed, and very poor diet. I'm sure all those conditions contributed to her that event. And we thought we were in the clear, and unfortunately we weren't. And she was such a strong girl. I mean, she could have pulled a dog sled all by herself, and spent several years being a therapy dog at the school that I instructed at, and also at elder care facilities, and was just glorious. And even learned in the beginning, I was kind of iffy, how to be completely non-reactive to my bunnies and my cats. It took months, but it worked. Finally, it worked. And almost learned how to stay out of the garbage. Honey, you guys had some adventures in that regard. She was super smart. She learned how to open doors. But I wanted just to wrap up with a special moment. On the 18th, almost a year to the day that she passed on to the great, that she had her mammary partial chain mastectomy, and then we found out that she had metastatic lung cancer, that it was only 12 days. And in that time, there was a lot of tender mercies on that transitional time. And one of them was maybe you all have an app that helps you see the night sky and interpret the stars and the constellations. And one night, as we all know, when any of us are ill, nighttime is the most challenging time. And she was on oxygen therapy, and all of a sudden my app opened up, and it showed the Fox constellation. I can't remember the Latin name for it currently. And then my sister, that was in the night sky in this December, and then my sister, without even knowing that story, had given me this little fox doll. And I'm so grateful for this space, because all of you have this like-minded gentleness in your heart for our friends in the animal kingdom that we love so much, no matter if they're two-legged or winged or crawly or however that they are. And so often that kindness or gentleness isn't reflected in our general circle of maybe friends or neighborhoods, or etc. And I'm very grateful for all the efforts that Best Friends does to make this happen every single month. And thank you. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. So we're going to take a moment of silence for all of our friends, and after that, we're going to go back to Patty, and she can close us up. So thank you again, guys, for everybody being here.
Thank you to Byron, Matt, James. Thank you all. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
I'll remember that story forever. That's awesome. I believe in that. And I believe in the magic that happens because it truly is magical. And you guys, I couldn't have said it any better. I mean, whether you are the fur, feathered, winged, hooved, scaled, however your connections are made with the wildlife, with the animals that are in your home, we are all connected. And when we open ourselves up and we just let ourselves get a little bit vulnerable, we also open up to the magic. We open ourselves up to allow so many amazing, wonderful things to happen. So I think we've come full circle here in sharing how that opening helps us all. And oddly enough, yet not, the poem I picked up that spoke to me is called Matter by Erin Hansen. You may not believe in magic, but don't you think it's strange? The amount of matter in our universe has never slightly changed. That all which makes your body was once part of something more. And every breath you ever breathe has seen it all before. There are countless scores of beauty in all things that you despise. It could once have been a shooting star that now makes up your thighs. And atoms of forgotten light, who've long since ceased to roam, may now have the great honor to call your crooked smile their home. You may not believe in magic, but I thought that you should know the makings of your heart were born 14 billion years ago. So next time you feel lonely, when this world makes you feel small, just remember that it's a part of you, and you're a part of it all. Thank you all for coming out today. So delightful to see you all. Thank you.